You know, if you grew up in the VHS era, you probably remember a simpler time. A time when PG rating didn't just mean mild language. PG meant, yeah, this is fine for kids, probably, as long as their grandma isn't in the room. Because somehow, in the 70s and 80s, studios were releasing movies with full-on bare skin and nudity, adult humor, and surprisingly very racy moments. And the rating was just PG. Parental guidance. That's all. So today, we're looking back at 10 movies that somehow, someway, got a PG rating despite being way more adult and way more skin-filled than you remember. So pop that tape in. I got you. Let's go do this. All right, kicking off at number 10 is one that most people have seen and a lot of people probably forget about, but it is John Hughes' 16 Candles. Yes, this movie had a PG rating, and if you're thinking back, you're like, well, yeah, that makes sense, but does it? Because there is a scene in this movie, and of course, I can't show you all of this here, but that's what the Patreon is for. But there is a scene in this movie that Molly Ringwald and her friend are watching the prom queen shower. In the shower, she's a high school senior, so she's 18 plus years old. She's showering, and there are plenty of close-ups of her au naturel, beautiful sunlight, and you see everything in a PG movie. But it doesn't stop there, because there's a lot of innuendo throughout this movie. The scene with Michael Anthony Hall in the morning after. There is a lot going on in this film, and somehow, particularly with that shower scene, it chalked itself up a PG rating. 16 Candles comes in at number 10. And then at number 9, there's one of my favorites. It's an absolutely fun movie, Splash. This is a family classic, kind of, somehow. Tom Hanks fell in love with a mermaid played by Daryl Hannah, and the movie is sweet and funny and romantic. But also, mermaids don't exactly wear a lot of clothes. Definitely not your normal street clothes. And there's a surprising amount of tasteful but very clear nudity throughout this film, especially in the early sequences when she's discovering the human world. It's one of those movies where you realize, oh, PG used to mean something very, very different than it does now. Disney has gone back. This is one of the movies they got in trouble for altering digitally after the fact on Disney Plus to try to cover up some of that nudity that is pretty ubiquitous throughout this film, especially for a PG movie. Watch it anyway. In its uncut, unedited version, it's a blast. Splash comes in at number 9. Number 8 is one that recently got a 4K restoration, and it is a comedy masterpiece. It is Airplane! Exclamation point. And it is one of the funniest movies ever made, but also loaded with adult humor, innuendo, and yes, nudity. Brief nudity, but full frontal, topless nudity, played for shock value and laughs, but it was there. The joke is basically, it's so ridiculous, it doesn't count, which is why the ratings board went, sure, PG, you got it. This movie is a perfect example of how loose the standards were back then. It was a golden era. Trust me. Airplane comes in at number 8. Now with number 7, we go to the sword and sandal kind of genre in a dark fantasy, actually surprisingly dark, Dragonslayer. Like I said, a surprisingly dark fantasy film, particularly for its rating. The plot follows a young magician's apprentice who's tasked with slaying a dragon that demands human sacrifices. So already, that's all intense for a PG rating. And then you have some brief but very memorable nude bathing moments that treated it as completely casual nudity. It's not necessarily exploitive, but it is there. I mean, it's just there. And it reminds you that the early 80s fantasy films often operated on medieval rules. People bathe, they get nude to bathe, and it's totally PG. So as long as you got a little parental guidance, you're good. Watch them take a bath, old school style, in Dragonslayer. It comes in at number 7. And at number 6 is one of my all-time favorites. It is Clash of the Titans. The original Ray Harryhausen heavy mythological epic. Greek gods. I taught ancient Greek history, ancient Greek and ancient Rome. I love this stuff. Perseus versus Medusa. And of course, Greek mythology isn't exactly modest. Greek and Roman culture in general, not modest. Not at all. And there's brief nudity in this thing a couple of times. Sensuality, though, throughout this film. And because it's mythic fantasy, the movie treats it as totally natural because the Greeks treated it as totally natural. I don't know if you know this, but in the Olympics, when they had the Olympics and they wrestled Greco-Roman style wrestling, they completely nude, covered themselves with olive oil to do it. So, like, this wasn't a thing for them, so the movie treats it like it's not a thing. Today, this would absolutely be PG-13, at least. Back then, it got the PG mythology pass. Clash of the Titans, one of my favorites. Now, number 5 might be one of the wildest PG ratings ever. It is Logan's Run, a sci-fi classic. I'm telling you, it's wild. This one got a PG rating. The film is set in a future society where people are terminated at age 30 to keep everything perfect. So that's already a super heavy premise for just a little, parental guidance. But the movie also has an openly sensual tone to it, including the infamous love shop culture of this world. It's sleek adult science fiction disguised with a PG label. Basically, hope your kids don't ask any questions if they watch this and maybe cover their eyes a few times. Logan's Run, I don't understand how it got a PG rating even then, but it did, so it had to be on this list. It comes in at number 5. Now, number 4 is one that is admittedly a little bit lesser known, but Looker definitely deserves to be on this list. It is a sci-fi thriller that not as many people have heard of. It follows a surgeon who uncovers a conspiracy involving models and advertising manipulation and futuristic technology, but the film includes a lot of nude modeling sequences that were treated as completely normal for the era. Not shocking, just part of the premise. So it wasn't like, I don't know, it's almost like clinical, but there is a lot of it. It is one of those very early cable TV classics that ran late at night where you realize, oh, the VHS shelf was a lawless place back in the day. Like, you could just go out here. It was the Wild West, especially head into mom and pop video rental stores. You could find something like Looker, a sci-fi cool premise, and you go home and you're like, hey, that has a whole lot of sauce and a whole lot of nudity to it. Good movie. Check it out. Looker comes in at number 4. All right, coming in at number 3, if you follow me, this is a movie is very important to me. It means a lot to me, to my late father. We watch this movie all the time, and it really pushed the boundaries of PG. I am talking about the Beastmaster. Look, Sword and Sorcery, cult favorite, VHS energy. Hey Bubba, Beastmaster is on. My dad said it all the time. Mark Singer plays a warrior with animal companions that he talks to, battling evil in a fantasy sword and sandal world. And the movie is filled with the kind of casual fantasy nudity and sensual, costuming that the genre basically ran on in the 80s. And look, there's full frontal nudity in this movie. Like, in a PG movie, and scantily clad people when it's not. Bathing scenes, slave camp imagery, tiny micro costumes, and somehow PG is all it was. Just a little parental guidance is all they gave you to watch Don Coscarelli's crazy movie. We're not even talking about the sacrifices and the eagle people eating people down to their bones that were scary. Parents were renting this to watch with kids, had no idea what they were getting. Now, my dad, I had an older brother, and my dad, perfect for the three of us dudes watching it, and I still love it to this day, but boy, does it ever deserve to be on this list. The Beastmaster comes in at number 3. Now, number 2 might be the ultimate, how did this not get an R rating movie? Like, this is a classic, but how it's rated PG and not R, I don't know. I am talking about Barbarella. Listen, Jane Fonda stars as a space adventurer in a psychedelic sci-fi fantasy filled with super erotic energy and imagery, suggestive costuming, and adult absurdity. I mean, look, there's a machine in this that will give you, satisfaction until you die. Let's just say that. It exists in that strange, like, pre-modern rating era where studios were still trying to figure out what family-friendly even meant. Barbarella is basically sci-fi pulp as a fashion show, like a Saturday morning cartoon feel, except the thing starts out with Jane Fonda getting completely nude in slow motion, flying through the air, and it really just kind of ramps up from there. So, yeah, Barbarella belongs on this list. It comes in at number 2. Now, number 1 on this list, oddly enough, I believe just got announced for a 4K restoration. And I think there was a show after the movie. But when it comes to nudity in a PG movie and really pushing like way past the boundaries, let's forget it. This would be rated hard R today with the amount of skin that it shows. I am talking about Sheena. This is a jungle adventure starring Tanya Roberts, who is also guilty of the nudity, a lot of it, in The Beastmaster. This time she's a warrior raised in the wild. So you got to think Tarzan meets like pulp fantasy meets like cable TV legend. That's what you kind of get here. The film is packed with PG era, sensuality, tiny micro minimal costumes in this, and a ton of casual and prolonged nudity, and it was marketed as an exotic adventure at the time. It's pure 1980s mom and pop VHS rental store shelf energy. Definitely one of those people that remember for reasons. Top, bottom, front, back, every reason is on display in Sheena. It comes in at number 1. Check it out. It is a wild movie, and you will think, how did this get a PG rating? It comes in at number 1. So yeah, there was a time when PG didn't mean safe. It meant some monsters, some jokes, and apparently a surprising amount of nudity and skin and sexual innuendo and adult jokes and all kinds of stuff. The rating system was looser. The VHS shelves were wild, and parents truly had no idea what they were renting or you were renting on a Friday night, and it was awesome. Come on. Now I want to know, what is the most shocking PG movie you saw as a kid? Let me know in the comments. Hit subscribe and like if you enjoyed this. It really helps out the channel. Ring that bell so that you know whenever I have videos coming up, because the big tube doesn't always let you know. And if you really enjoyed this, you want to help support what we do here even more and get additional content, you can join my Patreon. The link is below. You'll get your name and lights on every single video. Behind the scenes looks at my filmmaking, special physical media, 4K reviews, deep dives, just candid conversations, and so much more. Tons of content over there, and everything helps out the channel, and I really do appreciate it. But until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye bye.